a very good afternoon to you all, and thank you for joining us here on YouTube for the National Football Youth League Final. It's a competition which aims to bridge the gap between academy and college football, and this is its set piece. It's between Reading and Crystal Palace, and after 6 rounds, each side has fought through to this final. It's set to be quite a clash. Two of the best sides, the two best sides, in fact, in the Southern Premier Division this season. Now, this is the set piece. Last week, there was the trophy final. And before we get into the run of things here at Selhurst Park, what a glorious day it is here as well. Fantastic conditions for both sides. We're going to take a look back at some of the highlights of the trophy final happening last week up in Burton. That was an interesting one as well, conducted between two sides who have both attacking instincts and real ability in their teams. In the end, it was won by Burton against West Bromwich Albion at the Pirelli Stadium. It ended 3-2, and there were some fantastic goals involved. And we're going to have a flashback to that before we get into the action here today.
Welcome to the Pirelli Stadium, Burton-upon-Trent, in the heart of the Staffordshire countryside, home of Burton Albion. We are bringing you the National Football Youth League Trophy Final between Burton Albion Community Trust First Team and the West Bromwich Albion Foundation. They go deep, back post. There's McIntosh, who makes it. Surely it's there, Bowen! Yes! The deadlock is broken. And there's some pleased looking Burton players over there. Bowen with his 16th goal of the season. And that goes against the run of play. The set piece, Tom, that's what we've been saying.
Well, I'm intrigued to see how the West Brom players will react after conceding.
Okay, so I missed that. Oh, short, he's got another chance. He's 1-on-1, he's there! He's put it away. West Brom trying to reshuffle after their substitution that we all missed, including the West Brom team. And Shaw has popped in, 2-0. The Guns are trying to get in the game early, trying to pick it up. Raji putting it over the back, and there it. Oh, what a goal! What a goal! West Brom are back in it. That's Birch coming in at the back post, and he's meeting that on. He met that on the volley, and that is the pick of the bunch. It's that for Savannah, and there again. And he's given a penalty. He's given a penalty for, I think, a high boot. So we can only assume. Let's just watch that again here. Look there. What was that? No. I think we need to see that again. Oh, we got the. Here's the penalty, and it's the Samba, bottom corner. No mucking. 2-2, and that's a nice start. I like that. Sabanda, McIntosh stands his ground, looking to get Shaw in over the back. And Shaw, can he push Graham off? He's got the chance, he's through, he's got stronger. And Whitehouse is there, and he's gone! There it is, Shaw, is that the winner? He's 18th of the season, he's saying, hey, don't jump on me, my nose hurts.
What drama. Even Billy the mascot's joined in with the celebrations.
4 minutes to go. There's Billy the mascot, he's in there as well. We've got 4 minutes to go. West Brom are turning. Ref said it's the dive. That is the final whistle. Burton Albion are the 2018 National Football Youth League Trophy winners. And look at that. The Burton players are flat out on the pitch, and the Burton players are flat out on the pitch, but in a somewhat different style. Connor Adams, Burton Albion, winners the 2018 National Football Youth League Trophy Final.
Well, scenes of unbridled joy up in Burton for the home side there. And although this final is being played at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace are nominally the away side. It's a slightly odd setup for both sides, but neutral territory, it is classed as just about. We will have to see how that one plays out. But if you want to join us, thank you very much for firstly joining and tuning in. But if you want to join us in terms of engagement, hashtag NFYL final is the hashtag, and you can find us on Twitter, and we will give you a shout out and tell us your thoughts. Let us know where you're watching from, who you're watching for, and what your thoughts on the game are. Now there's quiet descending around the stadium here as both sets of sides just don their shirts and go through the final team talks in the bowels of this fantastic stadium, which gives us just enough time to run through the route of the final four, both sets of teams. And really it's Reading who have impressed the most. Since round 3 they've scored no less than 5 goals in each of their last 5 rounds. A couple of those were 7-0 thumpings as well against Wickham and Norwich City. It's Reading who are in the white and blue, and Crystal Palace in the familiar Crystal Palace stripes of blue and red. A slow walk out onto the stadium pitch for both teams. Crystal Palace have had things a little bit harder to get to this stage. In the semi-final against Plymouth Argyle, Sunderland they had to go to extra time against, and West Ham they beat on penalties. They've done it the hard way. Have those in red and blue. How will they fare in the final? Reading, you might be able to say, haven't really been tested in the cup until this point. Two sides who played out first and second in their Southern Premier League, who will have the honours today. Cup finals are, of course, a different beast altogether. And Reading, they are suffering a few of their important players throughout the season who aren't here today, the likes of Jordan Alves and their captain Brendan Dyer, both those two with difficulties in terms of their discipline, and they will be missing this one. So to have a look at both sets of teams. Starting with Crystal Palace, then Jack Wallington, Keane Gillett, Seth Dakin, Eamon Kudban, Flavio Jumo, Ezekiel Kamara, Daniel Ndukwe, Jake Robinson, Henry Ijeki, Charlie Steer and Alex Pugh. Their coach is Bobby Bowery. So as the referee and both sets of captains shake hands, Reading's team then goes like this. Luca Gasta, Kama Komba, Craig Lawson, Dan Carr, Owen Cummings, Jordan Sykes, Lamine Cisse, Eden Downs, Connor Suckling, Hussam Darbo and Salim Abubakar are the starters. And we have a bench looking full of talent as well. Louis Goodchild, Sonny Wheeler, Joe Piling, Ruben Bande, Connor Stratford, Asib Ali and Josh O'Connor. So it is Jack Wallington in goal for Crystal Palace, who has the captain's armband. And in the Reading ranks, it is Owen Cummings. Normally their vice-captain, but with Brendan Dyer out, he has the armband for this one. Dyer, so unfortunate to be missing this one. Perhaps he's here with the side, but he'd rather have his kit on rather than be in the stands. He got a red card against Crystal Palace in their final league game of the season. He misses this final, agonising for him, and there'll be his teammates out here today who will be desperate to bring the cup home and make sure that they have their captain a little bit of silverware afterwards. Now, Reading kick off, and it's a rather mistimed jump from Crystal Palace, and the ball rolls out for our first throw-in. Now, it's this time I'd like to welcome my co-commentator up to the gantry today, John Hope. John, a former player at this level for Chelsea's Foundation Academy, and the way that you know well how days like this and the lifestyle that these players are dealing with at the moment at this young age, football and education both together, it's fantastic for them to have days like this in the summer where it's all about the football as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this afternoon. Should be a fantastic occasion.
Yeah, indeed it should, and as we see Crystal Palace putting the patterns together down the right wing. Reading taking over possession, but just drifting out. Well, both sides a little bit loose with their passing. And the upshot is that Crystal Palace have the throw in from that far left-hand corner of our screens. They haven't had it their way in the head-to-heads in the league, Crystal Palace. They have lost 3-0 in December and then did manage to take a 2-2 draw in their final league game against Reading. And it has been the team in blue and white that have shone out throughout the course of this season.
It looks like a diamond formation early doors for Crystal Palace, and we've gone 4-3-3 it looks like for Reading as well. So that's an interesting situation we have there.
What's your take on how that might affect their play, John?
Well, with Crystal Palace playing one in the number 10 position, it'd be interesting how Reading deal with that. Whether they'll go with number 4 just in front of the back 4 to make sure that he doesn't get on the ball too much. It's interesting with Palace going 2 up top as well. That'll keep the Reading 2 centre halves occupied. They won't be able to get on the ball as much. They'll have a lot of heavy pressure on them. But yeah, it should be interesting.
There are certainly a fair few central defenders on both sides who like to tuck into the strikers and forwards that they have in their crosshairs. For some of those, particularly in the Reading lineup, dealing with Crystal Palace's back four will be part of their challenge today. And just unable to get his head on it. That was Henry Ikije.
Spent the season at Margate. Very interesting. Good, very good level.
Yeah, Margate in the Bostock Premier. And making his presence felt there in the box, but not troubling the goalkeeper in any regard.
That's that pressure we're expecting on the Reading back line. Playing up from the backs.
Ball forward and it's well turned. Lamine Cissé, who finds some space for himself, but was shackled and marshalled well.
Great tackle there.
Oh, he's certainly one to watch with 30 goals to his name this season, Lamine Cissé. But no extra room afforded him there.
Slight long throw coming onto that Crystal Palace back line. They're going to have to deal with it. There's a lot of height in there.
Well, the long throw, indeed, it does go. It's nicely worked back, but it's now stabbed across goal.
Looked like offside there to me.
Our referee today, Sean Barkley, and his assistants, Oliver Hind and Paul Maskell. But regardless, play goes on, and Palace almost win the ball back in the centre of the park. Ikije again making his presence felt now. This for Reading. Abu Bakar with the shot. He is one of their stars this season. 43 games, 31 goals.
Yeah, playing out on that left-hand side. He's predominantly right-footed. It looks like he's going to cut in and cause that Palace backline a lot of problems.
He's in the All-Star South squad based on his performances in this season, as we just see how that was worked across. And John, you felt offside.
Yeah, I definitely think it's offside there.
Seth Dakin with the throw-in.
Great turn in there.
And not quite the right pass sought out by Jake Robinson. But still, Crystal Palace with the territory at least. Dakin again asked to throw in, and this time you sense he might try and go for distance. He doesn't. He has options on a shorter leash. Reading looked to break. Dakin winning the ball back well, and Ikije once more, who's been influential in the opening minutes for Crystal Palace. Tapping the ball on there. Reading do deal with it, and there's a big strong foot driving it into Palace's half.
Very early on, that Ikije, he looks like the danger man for Crystal Palace. He's really driving at that Reading back line. He looks like the one to watch out today.
Well, he's been missing for most of the season, Henry Ikije, through his duties playing senior football. But one-on-one, he's a dribbling talent, and Reading are seeing that already in this National Football Youth League final here at Selhurst Park. Fantastic occasion for both sets of players to enjoy playing on a Premier League pitch. And it's interesting, John, even the Crystal Palace players here today haven't played on this pitch in a competitive game before. They've played it in training matches, but never on such a stage where there is a lot at stake.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know who's watching. This is a showcase for these guys to show their talent and hopefully earn something out of it. They hopefully got scouts watching. You just don't know what could come of it. So it's exciting for them. Obviously, I expect quite a fair few nerves early on. But once they get a few touches in, I fully expect them to really show their talent.
Yeah, those opening exchanges in a cup final, John, you will know it's a little bit different, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that first goal, I think, is all the more important. Having that momentum as well. Oh, blimey, good effort. Yeah, having that momentum, you've got to try and take it to the other side, make them nervous. How's that replay?
Jake Robinson getting in there, but getting fouled. Coming in from Darboe. Certainly a lot of players putting their bodies on the line, trying to make a mark, not letting their opponents get one over them. Palace happy to try and play themselves out of their half, not looking to launch it forward, although that time Jake Robinson does that.
A little bit scrappy early on. No one's really gained possession as too much yet.
Here is Abu Bakar again. Ball threaded through, and this is for Lawson to chase. Does well to get close to the ball, but so to Palace to make sure that that ball drifts out.
Again, the two centre-halves split in again, looking to play out from the back. Both sides really want to keep the ball. They don't want to go too long. It's all about how that pressure from the opposition will determine how that goes.
Now setting off is Cisse once more and being fouled once more. Palace on their own turf, making sure that Reading aren't finding any easy victories, defending the grass and the ground very well. This is put in there though by Reading. Headed away well by Palace. There were a few jittery moments at the back, but they got it away. Now Palace and Abu Bakar, or Reading rather, and Abu Bakar have the throw-in. Craig Lawson, a consistent performer for Reading in the cup throughout the 6 rounds that Reading have had to contest so far. Ten minutes in, no score, plenty of endeavour, plenty of physical confrontations. Abu Bakr picking the ball up, finding men who have come forward. One of them is Dan Carr. Spreading the ball wide, that's a shot from just inside the area, and certainly a well-struck shot, John.
Really good effort there. You can see Reading trying to make that pitch nice and wide. Great play. Just leaning back just a little bit there. It's unfortunate.
Cameron Comber with the shot, and it was Dan Carr who saw him coming into space. So Jack Wallington in Crystal Palace's goal. This one does get hammered forward. Reading deal with it coolly. No one challenging from Palace to that one. Cisse hacks forward, and it's put out by Eamon Kubban. Kubban is such an important player for this Palace team. Superb season last year. Has had injuries this term which have hampered how much he's been able to play. And we'll come back for a flag on the far side. And John, it looked like from up here that faulty throw.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened there. I think, has it gone out for throw? Yeah.
Palace really unable to settle into any kind of passing game.
Reading are playing a very high pressure game, unsettling Palace, having to go long, where they would prefer to keep that possession and try and play out from back.
Reading turning around and turning. Crystal Palace is attacking to having to defend. That one comes in right across goal, almost very deftly attempted by Reading. It didn't come down all that well. Bit of spin on the ball. Darboe it was who tried to have the attempt, but now they have a bit more space, and Abu Bakr has options here, and one of them is a lot of space to his left, and he drives into the penalty area. Can he get the ball across goal? It's well found the man. Once again it was Darboe. Darboe though from that distance unable to work his leg round. And John, a nice well build up to that from Reading.
Yes, he's gone around the outside and gone down the left-hand sides. It's a great ball into the box. It's unfortunate he hasn't got a toe in the middle to tap it home, but he's got a corner out of it, so we'll see how they get on with this.
Certainly no stranger to smashing them in Reading colours. 56 goals for the John Majewski Academy since he joined at 16. And that one's tapped forward well. No one at all attending to the vice-captain of Reading, Owen Cummings, there.
Completely unmarked again in the middle.
And if you're Crystal Palace's coaching staff, John, you'd be a little bit worried about that marking set piece.
Yeah, that's far too easy. Oh.
And this is Wallington, who's come very far out of his area and has to have a little bit of help to ensure nothing worse happens there. Starting to see a few opportunities open up.
Not tight enough on Cummings there. Yeah, I think he'd be slightly disappointed he hasn't got a cleaner contact on the ball there.
Yeah, almost as if he wasn't sure how on earth it had come through to him. Cummins, he it's just agreed terms to be playing in the Spanish Tercera division, equivalent to our League Two.
What an incredible opportunity for him. All the best.
Yeah, he'll be playing for CD Almuncia City. And it is a good example just how much of a pathway this system is and the National Football Youth League in general. It's about education and football. Whichever path you choose, it puts you in good stead for that, as we see Palace now turning the ball over. That's a really well put in ball. This could be the first chance for Crystal Palace. It is. It's 1-0. And it's that man, Henry Ekije. Calm as you like. The ball came to him superbly, deftly put into the centre of the penalty area. And how about that for a finish, John?
Yeah, I think it's a commentator's curse. We were just talking about Cummins. I think he's the one that loosed the ball. Hughes nicked it off his toes, squared it to Ekije, and that's a great composed finish with his weaker foot as well.
Really was an opportunity that came out of nowhere. Reading caught cold. Perfectly weighted. Ekije in space.
It's a great finish.
He has looked like Crystal Palace's danger man. And he's proved just that. Reading, for all their more concerted build-up play, find themselves a goal behind here at Selhurst Park.
You'd have to say that was Palace's first clear-cut chance of the game as well.
Reading straight on the offensive once more. That coming through to Connor Suckling. Hitting him on the shoulder almost, it looked like, and has gone out for a corner. Dan Carr is over, taking it. Carr fires it in. It's a good cross too. It's not quite on the head of his teammates in the box. Lawson launches this one back into the penalty area. That was easily dealt with by Crystal Palace. And here's the goal scorer, Ekije. And well linked in with his teammate Flavio Jumo. Well, Henry Ekije, we mentioned that he'd been playing for Margate Seniors this season a little bit, and I guess, John, it's that kind of exposure to that type of level which gives you a level head in a cup final when it falls to you.
Yeah, absolutely. He showed his composure there. It's a really good finish. He's shown his experience, if you like, of playing on this, on a big stage. Absolutely fantastic from him.
So Reading, despite their dominance in the league, despite having the better head-to-head between these two sides, and despite having really been unchallenged on their way to this final, I should say that's save for their second round tie against Rochdale, which they won 3-2. That really was quite a game. But since then, it's been plain sailing through the cup, and yet here they are in the final, finding themselves a goal behind. That was speculative, but almost worked out. Robinson was looking to get under that, but he leaves it up to his number 8, Kamara. Comba. And now Jumo, and Crystal Palace finding that life is a little bit better at 1-up, and they coming into more possession too. Play spread across to the other wing. Craig Lawson now picking it up and bringing the ball forward. He has Abu Bakar, who puts it onto his right foot and fires it across goal. There's not enough Reading players in the box for that ever to really be a challenging one, but Abu Bakar is showing that he can dribble and pick out, or at least try to pick out, teammates from that left wing. Now this is Robinson, but the ball doesn't stay with him, and now Reading come back into the box. There's a call for a penalty. The referee, Barkley, waves play on. Never really considered that one for much, did Sean Barkley. Darboe, who is trying to find some daylight to play with, and somehow the ball does work through. Now Abu Bakar again has Lawson running around him.
Crystal Palace are starting to double up on Abu Bakar a little bit.
Ball comes in from Lawson. No one at the far post. Easy in the end for Keane Gillett. And now breakout here once more. It is Ezike.
He does.
Comes across. Crystal Palace could be in for a second. It's good goalkeeping in the end and good defence. Owen Cummins doing enough, the centre-back, to close space down and give Crystal Palace something to think about. Wonderful threaded ball through.
Fantastic save that is. What a save.
Daniel Ndukwe with the shot, and Luca Gasta with a fantastic save indeed. So here is the penalty claim Reading had. It does seem that as soon as they let their guard down, Reading, and give Palace the ball back and perhaps don't have complete focus, Crystal Palace go up the other end now. Ikije, who provided that pass once more from the left wing to the right side of the goal. Daniel Ndukwe on target, just not quite having the bettering of Luca Gasta.
Very quick on the counter-attack, Crystal Palace, aren't they?
They certainly have been catching Reading a little bit cold in that regard. Robinson with a powerful header forwards. And once more it was same man, Daniel Ndukwe, who's finding his shooting boots, although that just drifting wide. Just have a look at quite how that happened. And Ndukwe, good control and just putting a bit too much on it.
Sykes and Cummins, the two Reading centre-halves, really struggling to deal with the two up front for Crystal Palace at the moment.
Yeah, Alex Pugh, the man who is getting his head to the ball there, really causing a nuisance. And Palace have the free kick. And this will be our first card of the final, it looks like, from referee Sean Barkley.
Not happy about it, is he?
There it is, given. Well, that is the first yellow card which either side have incurred on the route to this final. That's a searching ball in, but in the end, Reading deal with it well. And this, once more, is Abu Bakar. Dribbling, taking on men. Well watched in the end by Crystal Palace. They had to time that one well. Abu Bakar, as we've seen, if he gets away, is deft at picking out his teammates in the box. Lawson once more with the throw, and back to Abu Bakar. Those two men who were watching the Reading player no longer with him. He's finding able to get into areas which give him more space. That's tipped on. Crystal Palace back in numbers to defend it. Robinson tries to turn well, and he's looks like he's injured himself slightly, Jake Robinson. And John, if you're able to place the style of play across both sides at the moment from the first 26 or so minutes that we've seen, how would you What differences would you see between the two sides?
Well, Crystal Palace are very happy for Reading to have the ball. That's for starts. But both sides are looking to press the other. However, Palace is just doing it a little bit better. I don't feel Reading are comfortable getting the ball into the box. I don't feel like that's the style of play. Whereas Crystal Palace are very happy to go long, counter-attack, and we've already seen that it's proved fruitful.
Carr, who has the yellow card, picks the ball up. This is Jumo and Kamara exchanging passes. But turning around, turning defence into attack once more. Robinson has options. Well worked down the left-hand side by Crystal Palace. Can they fashion a cross? And it comes back to Robinson at the back. Robinson puts it on his left and almost squeezes it in at the right-hand post. Well, it didn't have much power on it, but it was a whisker away, and Luca Gasta was left standing.
Another case of turn defence into attack. Really unfortunate effort there. Gets onto his left foot. Unlucky.
Jake Robinson, who's been playing for Chipstead first team this season on a regular basis. First real opportunity for him on goal in this final. Plays spread it over to the right really well. This is Cameron Combat.
It's that case of fullbacks have pushed high, another counter-attack.
Gasta's left foot is left a little bit short. And a Kijay, who seems to be everywhere in this final so far, picking the ball up and now having the ball at his feet, puts it on to his left, almost Pugh, and a Kijay just getting their wires crossed a bit. Abubakar Dakin getting a foot in there, and that is one which Dan Carr really felt.
I think his foot was a little bit high there. You certainly heard the screams for up here.
So we have Sean Barkley calling for the physio on. Dan Carr did look like a heavy collision. And for that, it will be a yellow card for Ezekiel Kamara. He's a ball-winning midfielder, but that time a little bit too enthusiastic in the tackle.
Yeah, he's just a bit late there, a bit high. He's caught Carly, he's really hurt him, to be fair.
And Carr, it remains to be seen if he'll be able to stay on. Looks like he will. Now in the cup final, you shake these things off a little bit quicker. That was quite heavy. He came in, both players wanting the ball. First chance really for Connor Suckling there to pick the ball up. He's happy to go deep to do it. Dakin has then once more cut that out, but well reclaimed by Lawson. This is Sykes, and there's a nice touch onwards from Darboe. Downs spreads the ball. And now Comber as well. Reading's pattern's looking a little bit crisper, a little bit sharper there. Now Abubakar finding himself on the other wing, John, and your take on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. He's not getting much joy down the left-hand side, so looks like they've gone for the right-hand side, shake up a little bit.
Carr's shot, not enough power on it, and Wallington calms things down at the back. He's a good distributor, Jack Wallington. Kamara. Excellent dribbling skills.
Lovely play in there.
Dakin now picking the ball up. Now Robinson, it was a lovely flick on from Pugh, a little bit too heavy. Launched forward. And taking absolutely no chances at the back, Eamon Kudban. KJ winning the ball back. Having the best of the first half so far across the two sides, you'd have to say, Henry Akije. The goal, of course, for Crystal Palace, scored with really one of their first chances of the game, first clear-cut chances anyway. This is Carr for Reading, winning the free kick.
Certainly getting a bit of rough treatment early on, Carr, isn't he?
Yes, he's had a yellow card against him. He's been in a challenge which merited a yellow card for Crystal Palace. Ezekiel Kamara picking that one up and still putting himself about. Bouncing around in the penalty area. Reading play it back. Lawson now has a bit of space and puts in a good cross too. Flashing across goal. It was a really well-weighted cross from Craig Lawson.
Lawson's done it on quite numerous occasions now, but more on so have ended up going past everybody. But it's a great ball.
And he doesn't have so much support, and certainly not there from Abu Bakar on the left flank. It's being left up to Lawson. Dakin. Kamara just enough on it. Palace with possession in the centre of the field. It's meant for Alex Pugh. Stafford well weighted indeed. There have been some moments and some really fine crossing and long balls in this half for Reading. Certainly when they've got the width and the depth of the pitch to play with, they've been using it, John.
Certainly have, yeah. I think they're trying to get Suckling on the ball a little bit more areas now.
Nicola Suckling by far and away their top goal scorer this season. In the number 9 jersey for Reading. But possession goes to Palace. Alex Pugh is ahead and the ball is for Pugh. Uses his pace and it's solid work in the end from Cummins. Cummins not paired with Brendan Dyer, their captain, due to Dyer's ban. Have been unlucky slightly with Brendan Dyer's red card. And then he missed 3 games and one of those 3 ended up being the cup final. But he has been a driving force for Reading all season. As that one was a long old throw in. Coming all the way through. Gaster. We'll try and find a little bit of space on the other side of his 6-yard box. Robinson had time there and chose to knock it forward. Reading's ball here. 10 minutes left of this first half. First half which has been fairly equal. Opportunities-wise though, Palace have had the better of those and they converted one of them from Henry Ikije. What a finish it was from his left foot.
Not the whole ball!
Reading's chances have been limited to goalmouth opportunities, none of them too clear-cut. Ikije chasing after the ball once more. Eden Downs is back, and Downs does well in the end. Palace crowding Reading in the midfield. Abu Bakar, who has switched sides in this first half from the left wing to the right. We will have a free kick on the edge of the box here. And John, as we've seen, Reading will just be looking to get this in the mixer.
Absolutely. They're a side that like to keep possession. I think we've seen that. But they've got to try and keep their game plan. You can see they want to keep the ball, they want to try and play in front of Crystal Palace. They're not too comfortable trying to get the ball into the box, because I wouldn't say they're the tallest sides in terms of the front line. But I think Lawson will fancy his chances. He's got a great left foot we've seen early on. Be interested to see how this comes about.
Craig Lawson, Reading's left back with the free kick. That looks like it goes on goal. It's tipped over. Wallington had to look lively there.
Wasn't taking any chances there.
A decent effort on goal. One of those ones which, if Wallington hadn't been paying attention, Carr now with the corner. Carr cutting back, and it's a big right boot hacked forward. Crystal Palace will look to break once more if they can. Reading so aware now of that threat. Abu Bakar is back on the left-hand side and looking to play in a lovely ball too. Well weighted that from Abu Bakar. The ball comes into the box. Wallington comes out off his line. He had to be sharp there, did Jack Wallington, Crystal Palace's captain. What a pass that was.
That was a lovely play. It's cut in from the left-hand side, beat a couple of men. It's a lovely weighted pass out to the right-hand side. So unfortunate about that cross into the box. Easy for the keeper.
Kamara and Carr challenging. Carr getting his head to it. Brave work from the Reading midfielder. Dakin. That has come through to Pugh. Carr now once more saw the challenge of Ikije coming in, and that time took appropriate evasive action.
Yeah, Carr in the mix of the action again.
Lawson has Suckling ahead of him. Plays it into no one in the end. Crystal Palace reading that one very well. And Alex Pugh has let that go through his legs. Does he have the pace to continue it forward? He does. One option into the box, and there were three Reading players there. Dakin. When he has had the opportunity, Seth Dakin has relished launching forward. Dakin to Kamara. King Gillett was ahead of him, but they go for the direct route, and Reading know they have to be back. Ikije once more, puts it on his left.
Offside.
Sean Barkley and his assistant referee on the far side, Paul Maskell, eagle-eyed onto that one. Ikije's pace when he comes forward, it causes Reading so many problems.
They've given him the number 10 role. It's a case of free roam, literally pop up wherever you want, and he's making things happen.
Robinson and Dakin exchanging passes. There is a feeling of much more space for Crystal Palace when they attack now, as opposed to the first 25 minutes, half an hour. The sun is beating down the Selhurst Park pitch today. As we approach the last 5 minutes of the half, John, how important is it that it's almost, I don't even need to ask it, but I will, conceding before half-time, it's a real hammer blow?
Well, you'd have to say Reading's game plan's probably been altered a little bit. You know, 1-0 down, nerves, this is a cup final, come into it, they are now chasing the game, they need to take the game to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace, from my personal perspective, are now controlling the game. They're happy for Reading to come onto them, and when they do get the ball, Palace, I have to say they've been playing some lovely stuff, and they are counter-attacking with some serious pace.
Yeah, it has been their primary source of attacking threat when the ball has landed in their lap and Reading are out of position. Now this is Suckling, and every time he's got the ball, he's had Crystal Palace shirts in his vicinity. Reading penalty after the foul on Usman Darboe.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on with Suckling. As soon as he gets the ball, he's got defenders straight up behind him. He's not getting any time on that ball.
I mean, his record is quite something, Connor Suckling, Reading's number 9. 44 goals in 43 games in all competition. In all competitions, I should say. Crystal Palace have done their homework. They know the threat he poses.
They can't get complacent, because a striker like that, they only need one chance, and they will score.
So we just see the replay for that foul on Darboe. Robinson.
Oh, Kamara felt that.
Jake Robinson, the guilty party. So from distance here, it is at the feet of Usman Darboe, but also at the feet of Dankar. Ikije. Nothing to flash about that in an otherwise very strong first half from Henry Ikije. Tussle for the ball there. It's Jumo who has won it.
He's lost his boot in the process.
Just the one boot on, and he has to use that foot which doesn't have the boot on. Suckling plays the ball square. Carr drives it forward. Cisse it was who was the target man, and Palace take the ball back.
Let him put his boot back on.
Jumo now taking the time to be two-booted. Pugh's header goes only over to Eden Downs, and now Cummins, the captain, spreads play over to Comba. Reading now playing very wide. The ball comes to Pugh, and he has options in front of him. And Dukwe it was who picked it up, and now this is Ikije again, cutting into the penalty area. He has Pugh in the centre, goes for it himself, and that time well wide of the mark.
Yeah, Ikije showing he's very two-footed. You just don't know which way he's going to go. Again, going onto his left foot that time. Looks like he's taking a slight deflection out for a corner.
Must have been a very slight deflection indeed from where we're standing in the gantry. It is a wonderful spot for a cup final, isn't it? It's everything you'd want. A fantastically well-conditioned pitch. Historic stadium, of course, built in 1924. Coming back to Jumo. Jumo, the long shot starting to come in for Crystal Palace at the end of this half.
14 goals this season, he's not afraid to hit them.
Certainly struck that one well. A little bit too well. Dakin and now picks out the pass. Pugh once more. That's been an axis which has worked well for Palace. But Jordan Sykes has done very well indeed to cut it down, although Kamara now finds Akije on this right-hand side. Strong challenge coming in from Cummins, I think, and that will be us for half-time here at Selhurst Park. In the National Football Youth Final, it has been Crystal Palace who are leading 1-0 against Reading, and it's been a first half of intrigue and moments and chances taken to the much the better by Crystal Palace. The one goal coming at the feet of Henry Ikije, who really has been the standout player on the pitch. But 45 minutes still to play for, and it's his one which is shaping up nicely for the second half. Space is opening up at the end of that first half, John, and the second half, would you thought that coaches will try and tighten things up, or let play and see where that goes?
Well, I think Crystal Palace are really content letting that front three of Akije, Pugh and Ndukwe. I think they're really happy to keep those guys high, and they're just happy to let that ball go over the top for them to counter-attack. In terms of Reading, I think they need to be, they need to try and find those pockets of space a little bit more. I think Palace, with Kamara and Robinson in the middle, they've been winning absolutely everything. They're getting to the ball first, and Reading needs to be a little bit quicker, sharper. Yeah, it should be an intriguing second half.
Indeed it will be, so please do stay with us here on the live stream. We're delighted to have your company, and if you want to engage with us and let us know where you're watching from, you can use the hashtag NFYL final. We'd be delighted to know your thoughts and what you think of the first half here and how you think the second might play out. And John, if I can just pick your thoughts slightly for half-time, and if you are Reading's coach, Michael Butcher and Paddy Carey, where would you be looking to make changes, if at all?
Well, I would have to say it's got to be in the centre midfield. I think they're being a bit too slow on the ball. Carr having a yellow card, that's probably playing on his mind a little bit. He's got that very early on, and therefore he's struggling to be as authoritative. And yeah, I think they need to shape up a little bit in the midfield.
So let's just have a look at how that first half played out. Abu Bakar connecting well with Usman Darboe for that early chance for Reading. Showed his ability on the left wing before tactically being switched to the right wing.
Yeah.
Dan Carr's corner here, early on, went all the way through to Owen Cummins. Cummins' shot just not quite enough. Perhaps surprised to have seen that one fall at his feet.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed with that one.
But then came the breakthrough moment for Crystal Palace, and it was Alex Pugh who picked the ball up and saw Henry Ikije storming forward, and Ikije had the poise and the balance to put that from his left foot in the back of the net.
Yeah, Cummings would be really upset with that one. He's lost the ball at the back, taken one too many touches. Yeah, he just loses it there. Pugh, great awareness to see Ikije. One touch out his foot. Hesitates a little bit, but a great finish. The goalkeeper's left standing.
Well, Cameron Comber was coming back at some rate, but didn't fancy risking a penalty.
No.
Perhaps also Ikije just a bit too light on his feet, dodging out the way. So after that, Reading did have a penalty shout, but it was waved away pretty quickly by Sean Barkley. This was it, and Palace then came right back on the counter-attack. This opportunity falling to Daniel Ndukwe.
It's an incredible save. Gets down very quickly, one-handed shot, just turns it away for a corner.
And Palace had a second opportunity with Ndukwe, that time not troubling the goalkeeper. Well, troubling him enough to force an attempted save, but never really looking like it would go on target, and that is how we have come to 1-0 at half-time. Just have a look at a few other opportunities. Jake Robinson with a left-footed shot. And then that attempt on goal was an interesting one from Craig Lawson, right from the free kick. We both thought up here that it would be put on a sixpence for the likes of Connor Suckling to try and head home from short range, but Lawson troubling Jack Wallington in goal. And fittingly, one of the final opportunities falling to Akije in the first half. So really is all to play for here in the second 45-minute period at Selhurst Park in the National Football Youth League final. The two best sides across the 5 divisions of the National Football Youth League, and they are playing out a final which shows both sides' quality. It's just Crystal Palace who have had the composure a little bit more. So do stay with us whilst we take a short break here on the live stream during the course of this cup final. Welcome back to the live stream here at Selhurst Park. It's half-time between Crystal Palace and Reading in the National Football Youth League final. And just once we've got a little bit of a time pause, we thought we'd chat to the man who's helped bring this stream to you today. And it's a new venture, it's a new idea for this specific competition. And so far it's bringing in a lot of interest and we hope enjoyment about the football as well. Certainly that first half was full of moments which showed the quality of this league. Now, Tom Shanks, you're with me now, the founder of Technical Sports Solutions, and as we mentioned, helping the clubs in this competition with their analysis through video as well. So thanks very much for making it happen. To start with the football, what was your take on the first half?
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on air. Great first half, I thought. I thought the way the two sides set up, it probably needed a goal, and that's exactly what we got. Based on the first 16 minutes, I was probably quite surprised it came at the end that it did. But nonetheless, Palace have managed the game very well since. I heard John speaking in commentary about perhaps being happy with the situation they're in and forcing Reading to chase the game. I think Reading are in a situation where they are slightly chasing the game, but they've also got an awful lot of time and don't need to. I think if they keep doing what they're doing, opportunities will come their way, but Palace are very dangerous on the break, as we've seen a few times.
Well, you're involved in so much of the analysis of this competition. How is it comparing quality-wise to the other rounds, the previous games that have been played out in the National Football Youth League?
Well, compared to last week, I mean, last week we had a hugely dramatic game. It would be really interesting to see, one of these two sides go up against those sides, because obviously take the context of the game, slightly different. Very hot day last week, slightly cooler today. But the way that the teams shape up is really interesting. In terms of the level of these two teams, they're both top of a very competitive league in the Southern Premier League. Reading have won the league this year. Valencia have come second. They drew 2-2 earlier this month, so really isn't an awful lot between them. You've got some really good players out here. I know we had the showcase North v South game at the weekends, and by all reports there are quite a lot of players who shone brightly through that as well. So in terms of the overall standard, these two teams are towards the top, certainly, of the whole league, but there is quality throughout the network across the country.
And let's just talk about the balance that both sides and both sets of players have with their studies and their football as well. How different is it to life in an academy, to life in a foundation programme such as these boys are with their clubs? Yeah, well, if you're fortunate enough to be in a Category 1 academy, for instance, you'll have a full-time school within the academy, or have scholarly links for full-time education. The programme these guys will be on will look something like a morning academic session, so maybe a few lessons in the morning followed by training in the afternoon, or that could be reversed depending on the timetables that they have specifically. So it does replicate a full-time academy setup. I wouldn't say it quite mirrors it, because obviously these guys aren't paid professionals, unlike say a youth team or a 23s player in a Category 1 academy, but they have as close to a full-time playing and training schedule as could be expected. In terms of the player's pathway that can come from playing at this level, obviously with the live stream it helps like that. We've got viewers in the US, and there's a big link there, of course, with scholarships over to the USA. What sort of aspirations football-wise can you have if you're competing in this league?
Well, the obvious one is obviously, inverted commas, making it, having a professional career in football. And there's obviously a lot of talent and the opportunity, and hopefully with our support through Technical Sports Solutions and Cheers Mate, the exposure to get that type of opportunity. I suppose sitting below that from a purely football point of view, there's scholarship opportunities abroad, particularly in America. We discussed last week on air about the aspirations of some of the players, and some of the players out here today have already had their scholarship package agreed and are ready to go for the fall, I believe.
And John, my co-commentator, John Hope, has been throughout the first half. You have a question for Tom Shanks?
Yeah, Tom, hi. Connor Suckling, how did you get him into the game?
Yeah, he's struggling, a bit isolated at the moment, isn't he?
Absolutely.
I heard you in commentary mentioning just that. I think they're screening very well, so when the ball comes to him, time is absolutely precious. But like you said, they have to find a way to do that. I think essentially it's getting bodies around him, being able to combine with him, and by doing that, get him into areas where he's able to hurt the opposition. Because at the minute, working really, really hard, but the effect that he's having is being nullified slightly.
And flipping that to Akije on Crystal Palace, how do Reading stop him?
Well, I wouldn't fancy the job, I've got to be honest. Very, very dangerous on the break. Reading are pushing very high with their fullbacks, which is exposing their centre halves slightly, which isn't necessarily a problem until obviously they're presented with a forward with the movement and pace that they are today. I think they have to perhaps have an extra body there at times, because despite only being 1-0 down, there was a couple of instances where being caught in those situations they were exposed. Probably should be 2 down, given the the quality of one of the other chances, but I think maybe getting a bit tighter and perhaps keeping your heads a little bit more when his ball's at his feet and he's about to go past you. Don't have to win it every time.
And guys, both of you, we've obviously got a fantastic venue here today. It's you know, by comparison to Crystal Palace, it's a fairly empty stadium, but that's not really the point at all. There's everyone here who wants to be here to watch these guys play, and how amazing is it if you're a young player to play in a stadium such as this on not just an amazing surface, but to look up at the same sight lines that Premier League players will be doing week in, week out.
Well, yeah, that's the dream for someone like me who was nothing more than a very average recreational player. I can only dream of being able to play on a stage like this. It's a fantastic experience for the players themselves, the programmes they're on, the league they're in, and also the family and friends of the players that are involved. The National Football Youth League has men's and women's programmes now, so hopefully events like this will be rolled out across both of those, and hopefully we can support the league and the organisations and the colleges and institutions on that journey.
Well, the thoughts and words of Tom Shanks, the man who's helped bring this stream alive here this year. And Tom, thanks very much for your time. And we don't want to press too much if you've got things to be doing, but whilst the players are still out on the pitch just warming up for the match, I think we might be waiting for the officials. Here they come. Would you care to give a prediction for the second half?
I've got to be honest, the way that the game's gone, the way the teams are shaped up, I fancy Reading to get a goal. They need to take the opportunity to make opportunities a bit more, if that makes sense. But I fancy Reading to get a goal. If they get it, it opens up. If they get it in the first 20 minutes, I'd probably back them to win. If they don't, the odds slightly go more to Palace. 20 minutes
to make it for Reading, according to Tom Shanks. Thanks very much, Tom. We'll have to see how that goes.
Thank you very much.
Second half about to be underway here at Selhurst Park, and commentary coming to you from us in the gantry here, including my co-commentator John Hope. The thoughts and words there of Tom Shanks. So John, it's a similar theme to my question to yourself. If Tom Shanks is backing 20 minutes to get a goal and then it might be Reading's game, what would be your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's hit the nail on the head a little bit there. I think Reading need a fast start. I think they need to gain the momentum very early on in the second half. If not, you'd have to fancy Crystal Palace.
Well, kick-off is underway, and it's Crystal Palace launching forward once more there. Head of Jake Robinson there.
I think we've got an early tactical change for Reading. I think we've got 3 centre-halves now with wing-backs by the looks of things.
So Reading looking to shore things up at the back, it would seem, John, as we see Dakin coming forward for Palace.
Well, yeah, they really struggled with the 2 Palace centre-forwards, so that's obviously in the thinking there. Also trying to stop the threat coming down the width of Crystal Palace.
Well, if it is a tactical change, and it certainly does look like that, John, you're bang on. It's not a personal change so much, just no new faces amongst the defence. It doesn't look like.
I think Carr's gone to right wing back. I think that's what's happened.
Akije with the ball in. That has come all the way through. Palace, meanwhile, it looks like have made a change. Louis Goodchild is on. This is Kamara. Launching that one forward, and it's well judged indeed. Offside, as he looked to pick out Akije. Well, Ezekiel Kamara, he had a powerful first half. He certainly a difficult man to rob the ball from. And with that sort of distribution as well, Palace's midfield, John, you mentioned it was their strongest hand really in the first half. As we see Juma just lose the ball, but that was where that first half was, where they had the edge.
Palace were first to the ball every time in that midfield. Reading need to be a little bit sharper, get there first. If they do that, then they need to match Palace, certainly in that in that case.
Gaster, who did an immense amount to keep the score at just 1-0 in the first half with that save from Ndukwe. Now Kijay popping up in a semi-wide position. Does really pop up all over the place, given that free roll we feel for this final. Certainly that is how he's been playing, and Bobby Bowery, their coach, must have been pleased with his first half. This is Carr threading the ball through, and it was Cameron Comber who he asked to reclaim it. Cummins gets his head to it, the centre-back and captain for Reading, but now he has to turn and compose feet to find Gaster.
Really interesting to see Reading's fullbacks for the first. Look how high and wide they are right now. Got Carr playing more or less as a right wing. You've got Lawson playing as a left wing. It's really interesting to see. You've got Abu Bakr more central as well, almost playing that number 10 role, similar to Ikije in the first half.
Yeah, positionally he's been shunted around the pitch, Abu Bakr. Has looked dangerous wherever he's popped up though. It's a very considerate of Reading to
No
tie
pressure.
the shoelaces of Luca Gaster. Yes, you don't want to be fumbling over those laces. All part of the day job for Reading's captain, Owen Cummins. And here he is on the ball. Sykes it was who had no time at all. Alex Pugh has been herring around the pitch, Alex Pugh. Popping up everywhere, and actually Jake Robinson too, and in that case it was Robinson who got the intervention, but both of them together with the blonde hair up front or in the midfield for Crystal Palace.
Both players you just mentioned, real high energy, really caused Reading a lot of problems. Straight first to the ball every time. Pugh, as you mentioned, has caused the centre halves a lot of problems, as you saw from the first goal. High pressure, caused a mistake.
Yeah, and it was a fine cross and a great bit of vision from Alex Pugh for that first goal. Reading looking to assert their control on this second half, though, as Tom Shanks mentioned at half-time. They don't need to panic. They have had chances, and they'll have some more in this second period, no doubt. Downs, who watched that one well. But Jumo, who picks the ball up, and Ndukwe, and now Ikije. Back to Jumo. Jumo has a bit of space, cuts in. Keane Gillett. That's come all the way through. Dakin and Kamara. Now the new man at the back, Goodchild. And the ball rolls out.
Yeah, in contrast to the first half, Reading now leaving 2 up. You've got Cisse and Suckling. So perhaps they're going for a little bit more of a counter-attacking outlet as well. In comparison, so Crystal Palace got a lot of pace up there. Be interested to see how that comes about.
Ball rolling along. And it's Carr who picked that up well. Now Reading with opportunities in the box here. The ball comes across, it's hammered goalward. But Dakin did well to get his body in the way. Now KJ being asked to carry the move forward, and the dribbling comes. It's, in the end, he's hauled down by Eden Downs.
1v1 KJ is a very good play. He's so composed, he's taking him away there. Foul every day of the week there.
And there were a chance from some corner of the ground for KJ to finish it. And I think even by his standards from 45 yards, it might have been tricky to do that, as we see that powerful shot from Osman Darboe. Keen Gillett, who was lining up to knock that one in. Kamara will have that duty, and that's just chipped forward nicely. Reading alive to the threat, though. And Duque turns well. Lawson fires the ball away, and it's Dakin who plays the ball down. Ikije striving to create more havoc in the Reading defence. But now they have an opportunity for the counter. Carr looking out for Connor Suckling, and Suckling gets 1 foot to it, but there are 2 Crystal Palace players there, and it's Jordan Sykes who brings the ball away.
Excellent defending there.
And here is Abu Bakar picking the ball up. It just was trapped under his foot for a small matter, and that's all Palace needed. Kamara looking out for Duque. And Duque's strength enough to keep the ball. Kamara is fouled.
If you compare the 2 centre forwards, of one of Crystal Palace, one of Reading, one's holding the ball up just a little bit better than the other. So Reading need to, with Suckling and Cisse, they need to hold that ball up a little bit better, need to get players into play.
Lawson fires it forward, and now Reading, first chance for them to hold it up, as you asked for, John. That's a little bit better.
A lot better.
Combat strikes one. Never challenging the goalkeeper by the right back. But it was that holding up of the ball which created this opportunity. Combat looked to be balanced as he struck it. Crystal Palace's Wallington, the captain in goal, launches that one forward, and that's a kick which has resulted in Palace being able to challenge for the ball in the almost in the Reading third. Steer is having to go back for this and hammers that one away to safety. Well, a little bit like we saw in the first half, John. Both sides setting out their stall and neither making an early breakthrough, but warning shots from different corners.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an interesting tactical change from Reading, going 3 at the back. They've let the fullbacks push on a little bit. I think the idea behind that is to draw the Crystal Palace wingers back. But apart from that, I still think Crystal Palace look comfortable on the counter attack. They're still going 3v3 with Pugh, then Duque and Ikije. They're still isolating the back 3. So, as said previously, I still think Reading need to hold that ball up a little bit better up front as well.
Well, time is off whilst we have a pause. I think it's Seth Dakin who is receiving a bit of treatment. He's been a very important player for Palace so far in this final. With a calm head, and he can play midfield or defence, and actually that playing ability, that creativity we've seen from defence today so far from Seth Dakin. Fantastic use of Premier League facilities for this final. It's been a fun season for Crystal Palace in the Premier League. 11th they finished, and yes, a few twists and turns along the way, but
you can almost see a replica of the Crystal Palace you see today in the actual first team. Very good counter-attacking, quick going forward. It's almost like a blueprint throughout the football club. So it's yeah, it's been really good to see today.
well, it looks like Seth Dakin will have a bit of time off on the sidelines, but may not be long before he rejoins. Reading with possession and stretching play, both flanks setting up very wide. Are Reading. The Palace crowding the ball well. Sykes it was who watched that onto his left foot, and now Lawson. And this nice interlinking play from Reading. But who's back? It's Akije. One for Alex Pugh to chase. Cummins working things nicely with Sykes. And Lawson, who's pushing up so much higher, finds Suckling. And Suckling doesn't do anything too much with that, but Reading keep coming forward with Cameron Combat. That's a nice ball through too. Confusion just at the back. Downs. Turning, and this is a shot on goal. It's Wallington who never really troubled that. Lamine Cissé, I think it was, with the strike. Lovely ball through from Cameron Comba, but just the two front men in that scenario not linking too well. Jumo. Dakin is back on, but he's erring with the pass, allowing Lawson to come forward. Darboe. Darboe pulls back and pulls the trigger. That's a handsome looking shot. It left Wallington standing, either because he knew it was going over or he knew he couldn't do too much about it.
Yeah, it's a really good effort there. Lawson picks on the left-hand side, driving into the heart. Really good effort. I think they need to be a little bit more positive in that sense, Reading. Keep getting those shots away.
Yeah, Osman Darboe doing just that.
Looks like Suckling's now been replaced.
So not been Connor Suckling's afternoon at all, this final. Hardly had any attacking possibilities. He's been well marshalled by Crystal Palace's defence, and that really is a victory for them, even at this early stage, to have had Connor Suckling subbed off after 60 minutes. Hard old day up front for him. Has had a super season, it must be stressed. But Crystal Palace with their tactics right on the day. Reading certainly enjoying much more possession in this second half than Crystal Palace. Darboe with the ball forward once more. That was very well found. Palace, though, doing enough to turn away. Now, straight opportunity for the new man on in Crystal Palace colours. First action of the game, and it was Palace's best opportunity of the half. The new man on, by the way, is Joseph Sylvester. Big Joe, they call him at Crystal Palace. As he bore down on goal then, I think Luca Gasta was well aware of why.
Ruben Band also on for Reading instead of Suckling.
The changes in the tactics now. We'll have to see how that changes the style of play. This is Robinson for Palace. Sylvester and Alex Pugh in the centre, and that's gone out, I think, for a corner. It has indeed. So Palace with a set-piece opportunity here for, particularly with their new man on, Joseph Sylvester. So Sylvester being put to work on the goal line. That's coming in. It was meant for Sylvester.
It's a lovely ball into the box. That's a great ball. New ball, please.
Good to see Luca Gasta taking things into his own hands, looking for the ball to try and get things going, despite being a member of the opposition. So Gillett with the corner. Curls that one in, and it was landing on the head nicely of Cummins for Reading. No real challenge on it from Palace. Wasted opportunity. Abu Bakar has kept that in well. Coming forward to Carr. Oh, that was an attempt. Fantastic improvisation from Carr.
Audacious.
He had a bit of the rough treatment in the first half, did Dan Carr, but kept fighting hard for Reading. And that one, not a million miles away. Gasta keeps things moving for Reading. A higher pace to this second half slightly for Reading. They know they have to up the ante here because Crystal Palace have laid out their stall in the first half well. Sylvester loses possession. Ball comes all the way over to Carr, and he has two men in front of him. And now he has a third, and that man is Abu Bakar, who keeps the ball alive. Darboe in support, and Darboe fires another one into the box. That's a very good cross indeed.
Excellent ball in the box there from Darboe. Tame header in the end, though.
It was from a tricky angle. Let's have a look at it again. Absolutely on a sixpence, but just not quite the body weight going through the header. Robinson tries to pick things up for Palace. Sykes it is who goes back to his keeper Gasta. Carr losing possession. And surging forward here, Crystal Palace once more.
Oh.
Eamon Kubban, who came forward and has won a free kick.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think he slipped. I'm pretty sure he slipped.
Well, he's certainly making the signs that he had a heavy impact. Let's have a look here.
It's a great run out from centre half, though.
Yeah, glory.
Really positive.
Glory run from centre back, isn't it?
Or it might be a little bit.
Either way, an uncomfortable one to land on the ball like that.
Looks like he's going for it.
King Gillett strikes and it goes low. Gasta has to look lively and does. Excellent ball forward too from the goalkeeper. Picking this one up nicely is Lamin Cisse. And that'll go out for a throw. And well, fantastic distribution from Luca Gasta. You can see why he's attracted the attentions from the USA. He'll be joining St. Thomas University in Miami for next season.
It's a little bit better from Reading. I know it's not exactly their style of going direct, but they're turning the Crystal Palace fullbacks and they need to try and get in behind a little bit more.
Carr with the long throw. It comes across goal and it comes right back to the left-hand side. It wasn't far away at all. Well, everyone seemed to freeze for moments, didn't they? Craig Lawson, who had the strike, kept his head down.
Agonising.
Kudban with the header away. This one's meant for Carr. He will have to race hard for that one. It's, in the end, Gillett who wins that race. So we have a bit of time off it, just away from our shot, as there is an injury again. I think it's Dakin who is down, and Crystal Palace make the decision to perhaps change things a little once more. There is seemingly a debate about who might be off or who might be on. The key J, you can see in the left, just taking a little bit of advice again from the coaching staff. Craig Holloway, it is there on the left-hand side of your shot. And Bobby Bowery, the head coach in the centre, giving Flavio Jumo the benefit of his thoughts. And Crystal Palace having the whole team over whilst the time is off. So a pause really in this final, 20 minutes remaining, and we spoke at half-time how Reading needed a goal. Tom Shanks thought in the first 20 minutes to be back into it. That hasn't happened. They've had plenty of chances, they've had the better possession. They've shown their shapes and patterns looking a bit better, but still Palace resilient in defence. Palace not showing nearly as much in that first half, save for one opportunity falling till Sylvester. They have a new man on, Joe Bonus Ward. And Ward looks like he's lining up on the left-hand side. Headed on by Sylvester. Abu Bakar picking the ball up. Seen him in dangerous moments here for Reading, but that time just doing his bit in defence. Cisse it is who holds the ball up really well. Not the strongest of figures, but using everything he had there. Now this is back to Carr. And Carr dancing in the box, trying to pick a way through. Hacked forward, Sylvester. You mentioned, John, how Crystal Palace had the edge in terms of holding the ball up. And we're seeing Reading getting a little bit better at that. Lemon Cisse.
Yeah, a little bit. They're doing a lot better. They still need to create a little bit more chances. I think we haven't seen Ruben Band a little bit more. We need to see him getting into the game. Tactics constantly changing all the time. Systems, formations, they're all changing. I think Reading are now, if you like, starting to commit more men forwards. But I would still say Crystal Palace a little bit more comfortable at this time.
The ball there with Akiji. And how hard is that, John, when the system's changing? As a player perspective, regardless from how things are going on the pitch, would you prefer to play one system for the whole game?
That's a good question. You certainly feel like you know your role from the off. You get told your role. You train in that role in the training lead up to the game. Obviously, when it changes, mindset goes a little bit. But these guys, I no doubt, would have trained for this occasion and are professional enough to adjust, if you like.
And it must be an important part of reaching the next level, if you can, to be able to play different systems and instantly fit in.
Absolutely, and you've probably got, you don't know who's looking, you've probably got on-looking scouts, and that would impress them as much, the attitudes, the commitment, not just their playing ability.
Yeah, well, Carr it is who has the throw in and now puts in a cross. Over to the back, Abu Bakar goes hunting for the ball and Robinson can't find a way forward. So we'll go back for a goal kick.
It looks like Alex Pugh, who actually started the game up front, it's now reverted to right back, which is interesting.
Carr with a strong header, and Cisse once more, finding the ball coming his way a lot on this right-hand side in the second half. Misplaced pass, Palace on the counter here now as well, the new man, Joe Bonus Ward. To Robinson, and Kamara catching up with play. And now this is Ekije on the right-hand side, cutting in field, putting it onto his left is Ekije. Already has one goal to his name. The only goal of the cup final, of course. Carr comes forward, full of running in this final. So to this man, Cisse and Carr, they are forming a nice axis on the right wing now for Reading. It's a lovely ball forward to Ekije with Sylvester in front of him. Ekije taking on Reading's defenders.
Excellent ball retention there by Ekije. Fantastic. Done exactly what his teammates needed from there. Just keep the ball high, wait for others.
Reading, though, sliding in and timing things well. Launch forward, and it's falling back now, Abu Bakar. Who has the attentions of Kamara, and Kamara strips him of the ball.
He's had a fantastic game, Kamara.
Deft touch as well, mixing the physical with the creative. And now he has the ball back at his feet once more, asking Ekije to make a run. Downs dispossessed him well. And after that passage of play, well, it rather peters out, but both sides showing that end-to-end ability and getting the ball to their most dangerous players. For Reading, it's on the right-hand side, and the same really for Crystal Palace.
There's a lot of space in the middle now. I've noticed, you know, I think both sides have reverted to three at the back. Both have gone for wing backs. So there's a lot of space in the midfield. Kamara's been winning absolute everything.
Charlie Steer knocking the ball out for Palace in defence. And Dan Carr goes over to retrieve it, and opportunity perhaps here for Reading. No Connor Suckling, their arch goal scorer. He's been substituted at around the hour mark. So for the final 15 minutes, Reading needing a goal back in this final. Pushing in the box though, and that is an obvious free kick on the spot. It was Sean Barkley to make that call. And John, from a Crystal Palace perspective then, if you're trying to see out a game, do you change anything? Do you get in the mood of just trying to clear things away a little bit more and concede possession, or do you try and dominate possession?
Well, by the looks of things, they've matched Reading up with the three at the back and the wing backs. You have to say Crystal Palace at the back have won absolutely everything. So credit to them. They've not given the Reading centre forwards a sniff so far. But yeah, I feel like they're very comfortable in what they're doing at the moment.
Kamara dispossessed by a new man on for Reading, Pilling. And this is Ekije, though. The ball finds its way forward to him once more. Robinson continues the movement. Jumo is with him. And Robinson asking for some support, and Kamara finds a good ball through. Ekije lifting it forward. It's offside. It's a fine attempted play. But Reading, and you can see in the body language of Dan Carr there, just who was going to pick up the ball. He knows how important time is. He knows that they can ill afford to let Crystal Palace have any sort of possession now, because they will just try and keep it as much as possible. certainly has been a second half where Reading have shown much more what they're about, dominating possession for longer stretches. Reading, of course, the winners of the Southern Premier, which both these sides contested. Crystal Palace finishing second. Crystal Palace 8 points behind Reading when it came to the league situation, but they are 1-0 up in the cup final.
You'd have to say now with 12 minutes to go, you've probably got tired bodies out there now. They've worked so hard out there. It's a big occasion, big stadium, big pitch. So they're probably starting to tire now.
"12 minutes or so remaining here at Selhurst Park in this National Football Youth League final. The top two in the National Football Youth League in the land in this cup competition, contesting this one out. They've come through 6 rounds to get here. Reading have really starred throughout this competition, scoring over 5 goals in 4 of their rounds. Not on the score sheet yet here today. This is Ruben Bande. Cross comes in, there's just Crystal Palace well positioned to deny them. Downs is having to contend with Sylvester and doing very well. But it's Robinson who picks the ball up. And now Kamara, they've had a bit of extra savviness in midfield. Have Crystal Palace today. Now Akije on the left wing this time, cutting inside and picking the ball up again, surging into the box. Akije, oh, that was marvellous running. Just the shot deserting Akije. The goal scorer, of course, in that first half, and it looked like that Crystal Palace's best opportunity of this half could have been a second goal.
Yeah, he's done all the hard work. Not the ball around him. Excellent play there. Again, shift it onto the left-hand side. It's unfortunate about the finish, but again, shows that once he gets that ball, he is a massive threat.
Akije not been around for the whole season because of his duties with Margate in the Bostik Premier. Been playing senior football this season, and he has been a notch above his contemporaries today. Certainly ably supported by the likes of many of his teammates, Kamara, Dakin, Jack Wallington in goal for Crystal Palace, but it has been him who's sprinkled the stardust. But he has 10 minutes before he can really think that it's a job well done, and Reading will have other ideas. They certainly won't be giving up. The side which won this league, which beat Crystal Palace 3-0 in December, drawing with them 2-2 earlier this month. Akije, so much energy in those legs still. Luca Gasta in Reading's goal. Asked to wait by referee Sean Barkley. Reading making a change, and the day is done for Craig Lawson, who has had an industrious game. So Lawson taking up his tracksuit on the bench. Darboe threading the ball through. This is Cisse, and now the ball coming back to the new man on Goodchild. This one struck well, but it's Crystal Palace who get in the way once more. Abubakar threading the ball through. That's a difficult one. Had it gone goalward.
That's a lot better from Reading, going through the centre. They're not hurting Palace when they go out wide, but they've gone through the centre there. Looked a lot better and got shot away. It was very unfortunate.
Bodies flying in to get in the way and just doing enough. It means Reading have the corner. There are plenty of bodies in the box for them. Abubakar trying to dribble into the box, but losing the ball.
Ikije
now, he's on the breakout here as well. Sylvester finds him in the middle. First touch is good enough. Sylvester puts the ball through on goal. It hits Luca Gasta, and well, that should have been good night. Excellent counter-attack from Crystal Palace. Ikije just not quite the poise in front of goal.
Yeah, I think it's his first touch that perhaps just lets him down. Even though he does get the shot, I think it shocks him in a way that his touch is so far ahead of him. Can't get a clean strike on it. It's a good save in the end.
Joe Bonus-Ward's foray forward, losing the ball. Now this is Carr, who has space to run into. Tackled well.
Excellent defending again.
Ikije now popping up on the left-hand side. Sylvester maintaining that central position. Robinson, who has been full of energy. So has this man as well, Alex Pugh. Ikije hacking that one forward, not quite the control we are accustomed to. If we have a look at this chance, that wasn't the control that he's accustomed to either, Henry Ikije. Credit to Luca Gasta for standing strong.
Credit to Sylvester as well, great ball.
Yes, he's done well in that central position, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's coming on for Daniel Ndukwe.
He's really held that ball up again really well. It's what Palace have been really good at today. They've really held that ball up, played their teammates into play. They've done that exceptionally well today.
Long ball forward by Reading. Abu Bakar is lurking and almost causing a nuisance of himself. Crystal Palace, again, just crowd around the ball. And at times that has just been their defensive tactic and it has worked. Sylvester. Kamara. Keeps the play going. Sylvester, again with his back to goal, but he has players willing to come into the game. Jumo. Spreading it to Bonus-Ward. Bonus-Ward's chip forward was meant for Sylvester. Easy one for Reading to take, and now they're hurtling themselves forward. 5 minutes or so remaining in this National Football Youth League final. Reading still goalless, despite the number of goals they've scored en route to this final at Selhurst Park. Come up against Crystal Palace, determined to shut them out and determined to not allow them to play their game. But Reading with a free kick here on the outside of the penalty area. Have a look at quite how that one happened, and it was the high boot of Keane Gillett, the man in your shot there. Gillett, who scored the winner in the semi-final to get Crystal Palace to this point. Dan Carr, who's looked dangerous from the set piece, had a shot on goal from a free kick in the first half. This one, John, you sense might be, again, aimed for his teammates.
Yeah, I think, you know, they've got to make most of this. If they're going to get anything out of the game now with less than 5 minutes to go, they've got to try and do what they haven't done all day, and that's getting the better of the Crystal Palace defence, who've been absolutely fantastic today.
Carr puts the ball into the mix, and it's headed away by a Crystal Palace player. Steer is the one who chases Reading down, and now it falls to Pugh, who gratefully hoofs it forward.
It's 3-on-1.
Sylvester is the man most forward for Crystal Palace, but that has gone a long way past him.
It's almost throw the kitchen sink at it now a little bit for Reading.
Bonus Ward with the header for Crystal Palace. Reading flying in, desperate to take possession back. Darboe, once again for Abu Bakar, gets the ball across the face of the goal. Intention etched all over the play from Abu Bakar. He's been a real stand-up player for Reading in this final. Going back for this ball is Ruben Bande. Taking on Pugh and Robinson, getting the cross in as well. This is for Downs. It comes back. It's Cisse who drives it, and it's gone in. Ricochet off the Crystal Palace player, and Reading have their equaliser. The shirts come off, and they all pile into the corner. What drama here at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace players looking around for a reprieve from the referee. It doesn't look like Sean Barkley is going to give one. He's instead planning a yellow card for the celebration, but that won't much matter to Reading's players.
Wow.
Knocking on the door for so long, John, and finally, through a bit of luck, you might have to say, but they gave themselves that luck.
Yeah, I think that's how they're going to score today. A bit of luck, and that's what they got. It's a good ball into the box, eventually. Gets it in there. Palace do again what they've done all day. Clear it, unmarked. It's a huge deflection. He doesn't know anything about it, does he? It's cannoned off him. Wild celebrations here. Looks like we're going to go to extra time.
Joe Pilling with the goal. He scored a late equaliser in the first round against Rochdale. Confirmation of his yellow card.
He won't mind about that, will he?
I don't think he
won't care. He won't
too much. And now he scored a late equaliser in the final. Well, after all their forays forward, all that structured build-up play, it's a little bit of chaos that gets the goal. That ball ricocheting into the head of Joe Pilling. And there was just heartache in the Crystal Palace ranks after that.
A little bit of bandbags.
And now Joe Pilling being taken to task by, I think that was Robinson. Jake Robinson.
We've had a few bookings this afternoon, haven't we?
Yeah, certainly 3 times as many as we've had throughout the course of either of these sides' route to the final.
Yeah, you can tell on the Crystal Palace's players' faces they are a bit disjointed at the moment. They've worked so hard for it. They've been one up for majority of this game. So to concede a goal like that, they must be absolutely gutted.
Well, as the 90-minute mark ticks over onto our clock, I must say that, of course, it's the referee who holds the key one. This is launched forward. That's, in the end, well claimed. Luca Gasta, no real threat on that ball in. Gasta finds Abu Bakar. Do Reading sense they could perhaps squeeze a winner here? Abu Bakar is in on goal. Abu Bakar! Wallington stayed up and then went down well.
Great save.
Abu Bakar, a chance there to win this final in normal time. Such a dangerous player all game long, and if there was one person you wanted that chance to fall to, it would have been him. He got his shot on goal.
Yeah, I think Reading are just starting to find that second win now. You can tell Palace a little bit, you know, disheartened a little bit, and Reading is starting to take taking complete control now. Oh,
that's cannoned off the back of Crystal Palace's substitutes. Didn't go goalwards, and somehow Luca Gasta gets the ball away, and this could be quite an attacking opportunity for Carr and Reading. Launching it forward, it's watched well in the end. Robinson is back for Palace, but Bande, this is where things started for the equalising goal. Bande on the left-hand wing. Slowing the ball down, he has the goal scorer Joe Pilling with him. This is Cisse. Cisse turning. Carr still with the ball, and Bande in front. Just has eyes to get the ball in the box. Pugh having to go back. It's going to go out for a corner. Dramatic final 5 minutes here at Selhurst Park in this National Football Youth Final. It's not necessarily going to be the last 5 minutes at this rate.
No, absolutely not. I think we're going to head to extra time, I think, unless Reading can do something from this corner.
Carr with the cross, and it's going goalward. It's a bit of a scramble between both sets of players. It's in the end hacked away, and Crystal Palace will be breathing a sigh of relief then. It's all Reading at the end of the 90 minutes here. Abu Bakar.
Free kick.
Joe Bonus-Ward and, well, Salim Abu Bakar looks like he has a severe bout of cramp there.
Certainly let us know about it, didn't he?
So Reading with perhaps the final opportunity. This, a devil of a cross in from Carr. And somehow, no one got anything on it. And Carr is the man with the ball in his hands, lining up this free kick from the other side. And on the Palace bench right now, having looked like they had this final sewed up with 85 minutes played, they are now hanging on. Nervous times. Nervous times really for both sets of players, because no one in an ideal world would want to go to extra time, put yourself through that. You'd rather wrap it up in the 90 minutes, and Reading have an opportunity here to do just that.
Both sets of players have just been through, you know, all the emotions through this 95 minutes, you know, and now it looks like they're going to go to extra time. They're already really, really tired. It's going to take its toll, certainly.
Unless this does go goalward, we do feel we are heading for extra time, and it will be 2 sets of 15-minute halves. And if Reading are without that man, Salim Abu Bakar, they will be the worse off for it. He has been a real danger on this right-hand wing and on the left-hand wing in the first half too.
Yeah, I think they've taken him off, it looks like. He won't play any further part.
So Carr with the free kick. Puts it right on the mixer. It's headed back though. And that will be full time. 1-1 the final score of the 90 minutes. We will be into extra time in this National Football Youth League final. It's been a match which has been turned on its head in the final 5 minutes. The goal coming from Joe Pilling. And it was one he didn't know too much about. The ball ricocheting into his path, and he managed to steer it goalward with his head. A dramatic end to the final which Crystal Palace would have felt they had sewn up quite a long time before that. And John, your reflections really on that last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was, God, it was frantic, wasn't it? I mean, Palace, again, throughout the 85 minutes, they looked defensively very, very solid. You just couldn't see Reading breaking them down. And again, coming back to the equaliser, he has not known anything about it. Lucky deflection, but they won't care about that one bit. And yeah, we go to extra time. You'd have to say the momentum has completely now swung in the favour of Reading.
Yeah, absolutely. And Palace have to regroup and try and find that sort of belief in themselves that they had throughout most of that game, really. They, having finished second in the league, the fact that they were frustrating the league leaders Reading for so long must have felt very good, but things turned, as we mentioned, on their head with that goal by Joe Pilling. It was in many ways a a cup final goal. Drama, a little bit of confusion about what had happened. It was the strike, though, that had come in from Lamine Cissé that had created the opportunity, and Cissé, obviously not with his name on the score sheet for it, but a real threat as Reading got going in the final 20 minutes. So it means we are poised at 1-1 here, Reading Crystal Palace. They played out a 2-2 draw earlier in the month, and there is nothing separating them after 90 minutes so far. We will take an extra half hour to decide the outcome of this National Football Youth League final. And the sweets, as you can see, being dished out in the Reading camp. And extra time, John took us through quite how that sort of changes things as a player, and how you're feeling physically really after 90 minutes with the knowledge that we've still got another half hour to play.
Well, you're back to square one, aren't you? And the thing is, Palace would have tactically, through their substitutions and formation, have reverted back to a defensive formation. They've conquered all that pressure. Now they've got to revert back to coming out their shell a little bit more now. That takes some more energy. Reading, I think, have just got to keep doing what they're doing. And again, I fully expect another tense affair for another 30 minutes.
Thank you for joining us here on the live stream. Thank you for watching the full regulation 90 minutes. We hope you are able to stay with us for extra time. And who knows what happens after that, if the scores remain as they are, or even if they remain equal. Both these sides scored plenty of goals throughout this season. They've only managed one apiece in the final. But as the tiredness kicks in and the mental fatigue as well, it will be interesting to see quite how these final two halves of 15 minutes each play out. We're having a break here, and rightly so. It has been a hot old afternoon for both sets of players and for the officials. The sun has slightly gone behind the clouds this afternoon as the final whistle went, but it has been a scorcher here at Selhurst Park.
I think that tells you a lot about the momentum of the game as well. Reading out first, the tails are up. Palace themselves, you know, taking extra instructions from the coaches, catching their breath, make sure that they know their roles and responsibilities going into the extra time. But you'd have to say Reading got their tails up. I fully expect the momentum to be swung in their favour.
Well, there was a moment in the midway through the second half when the whole of the Palace squad almost assembled over on the far-hand side. And it did look at that point like there were tactics being discussed, and that sort of end of the game type phase was already kicking in, where they wanted to see the game out. And having had that mindset, to then have to play another half an hour, it is a tricky one to get your head round. That is what Palace are going to have to do here. And it's Reading who will be, you suspect, straight out of the blocks with that boost from that goal by Joe Pilling. So Reading's captain, who started this final, no longer on the pitch, Owen Cummins. And the captain's armband for extra time handed to Jordan Sykes. Sykes, one of the ever-presents in Reading's side throughout this National Football Youth League season and cup. We are almost under starters' orders then for extra time at Selhurst Park. Both sets of players already with 90 minutes in their legs, already very tired, no doubt, who has the resilience, who has the poise to take home the trophy. Kicking us off will be Ruben Bande, whose break down the left-hand wing set up that final goal for Reading. He was a second-half substitute and has been injured for most of the season. But his return to form has resulted in helping his side to this extra time in the cup final. That was a very tired start to this second period, the hack forward. Almost a way of looking for territory.
Yeah, not much changes to either team's style. Both teams still going with the three at the back, keeping the two centre forwards high. And yeah, I guess it's now became a game of counter-attacking, if you like.
What is interesting subplot for Reading is both of their primary leaders no longer on the park. Brendan Dyer didn't start the match due to a ban, and now Owen Cummins off the pitch. Palace and Kamara bringing the ball forward, so it is Jordan Sykes, who's effectively their third choice captain, leading the side from defence. This is Lupata. Came on just a little bit before the final whistle, so he should certainly be fresh. Darboe with the long ball forward. And Alex Pugh. And I do wonder whether Alex Pugh has any energy at all left in his legs. He was everywhere for Palace for most of the 90 minutes. Lupata.
His work rate in the first half alone was enough for a 90-minute game. He was exceptional. Now he's gone to right back. He's got a bit of a difficult job up against Cisse on the left-hand side.
This is Goodchild with a throw. And Bande positionally tries to find himself as wide as possible on the left wing, Ruben Bande, and cutting in nicely there. Lupata dispossessing him, and Goodchild's foot ensuring that it will be Crystal Palace throwing. So Pugh with the throw-in. Darboe back to Sykes. Comba. Connor Stratford's ball over to the right-hand wing is a decent one for Carr to chase. And that's very loose from Crystal Palace at the back, and this is Pilling who scored that goal to take things to where we are now. Unable with that touch to really get anywhere near the ball. It was one of the goals which Joe Pilling will, in one sense, remember the least about. He didn't know too much about it to begin with. He certainly won't forget the celebrations. The whole Reading team diving into the corner.
Serious celebrations. It's quality. Worth the yellow card.
Yeah, Sean Barkley, the referee. That was the only decision he had to make on the goal. Crystal Palace asking for something, some sort of reprieve, offside, anything would have done. Charlie Steers.
Great ball.
And amongst all the drama, we forgot to mention that it was that man there, Henry Ikije, who got Crystal Palace's goal and has done so well for them throughout the course of the 90 minutes. He's still on, that'll be reassuring for them. But this is Bande cutting in field. Off on a solo run all the way across. Can he work across in? CJ is in there, and it's CJ he tries to pick out. Downs, whose ball leads back to Darboe. Darboe with the lift forward.
Coming back to Akije as well, not forgetting the chance he had one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He could have wrapped the game up.
Well, that's absolutely right. It was a couple of moments, but that one particularly, you mentioned it could have made things 2-0. That would have been good night. Here he is, Akije. Lupata, good child with the block, but Lupata keeps going and has a corner. Although the assistant referee,
not sure about that one, referee.
Decides not to award it, and Lupata struggling to work that one out. But Gasta, who whilst his side were 1-0 down, never let anything else past him. A couple of great saves, one from Daniel and Duque, and a couple from Akije. This is Cisse.
Excellent play.
Squaring the ball, Carr. And this time Carr has plenty of teammates to aim for. Puts it onto his left, and that's going long over the top. It's a superb goal. Daniel Carr, Reading's most tireless player on the pitch. And he's come up with a moment of real quality to give him a goal in extra time. Well, where did that one come from, John?
Was it a shot? Was it a cross? I'll let you decide. I'm not sure. I think it's a cross, but I don't think he'll care nonetheless. It's just sailed over the goalkeeper's head. What a great goal. On his weaker foot as well, has to be mentioned.
Doesn't even take a look up until after he's shot. And that is quite something. Should we give him the benefit of the doubt? It's a shot, John. It was...
Yeah, I think so.
A celebration once again. Reading going D-mob happy.
And just like that, the game has turned on its head.
And no taking off the shirt by Daniel Carr, as he would have known he's on a yellow already. But certainly that goal, a real cracker. And Reading, having turned this game around in the space, a cumulative space of 15 minutes, Palace now find themselves behind. Robinson puts the ball in. Reading back in numbers and Pilling over to Carr. And there could be more opportunities here for Reading. Carr bundling his way through, opportunities through the middle now. This is Darboe, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Darboe puts it away. Quick-fire double in extra time. Reading, they have Crystal Palace on the ropes here.
Well, doing exactly what Crystal Palace have been doing all game, counter-attacking, committing men forwards. They've punished them, haven't they?
Osman Darboe, the coolest head in the box. And Dan Carr, he's just scored one himself, and how about that for resilience and then poise. And Darboe's finished quite something as well.
You have to come back to the word momentum as well. After the equaliser, you can see Palace heads are down, even more so down after conceding the seconds. It's now a case that they really need to rebuild themselves and just give it a right good go for the rest of the extra time.
Yeah, Crystal Palace must be looking around wondering what on earth has happened to their visions of lifting the cup. It has been, at this point, undone completely by Reading riding the crest of a wave. Lupata finding Robinson. Robinson still going. He's allowed to play on, puts a shot away, and it's just another super goal.
What a great goal. He's upset that he's lost his boot.
Jake Robinson, not bothered at all by that, determined to get on with the game, but take a bow. That was off his left foot, some strike.
Yeah, it's some goal. Fair play.
Well, this cup final set alight in extra time now.
Just when you think they're down and out as well, picks the ball up, wins it off 2 players. He's complaining he wants the free kick there. What a shot, what a goal.
Crystal Palace striking back immediately. Jake Robinson, the goal scorer. And John Hope, who's with me up in the commentary box, we're having to keep track of the goals all of a sudden, having it been a completely different pace of a game for 90 minutes. We've now had 3 goals in 10 minutes. What an exciting game for everyone who's watching as a neutral. If you are vested in this game, you know one of the boys playing in it, then it must be a real nervy affair. Ruben Bande is taken by Robinson, who has got it himself and his team back into this one.
Back it in, guys, back it in, please.
Well, instead of both sides playing out or holding on for a penalty shootout, that's not happened at all. Carr now going for one. And that shot just a little bridge too far. Carr feeling the strain of his exertions over 90 minutes. But John, you're able to make sense of what we're seeing in this extra time period.
It's all of a sudden come to life. Just when you thought Crystal Palace were down and out, you know, they've conceded 3 goals in a matter of minutes. They've now got themselves back into it through a fantastic goal by Robinson. We should have a cracking finale now. You should see, again, come back to that famous word I've used all day, momentum. Palace now are in the ascendancy. Tails are up. It'd be interesting to see what happens now.
If you're just joining us here on the live stream, well, you've missed quite a thrilling 15 minutes or so, featuring 3 goals by Reading, initially by Joe Pilling, then by Dan Carr, and then by Usman Darboe. That put them 3-1 up, and we've just seen Crystal Palace get one back through Jake Robinson. Another fantastic strike from him. Hack forward, that time by Steer, and you wonder whether both sets of players will continue in this vein. All-out attack, and whether we'll settle into more of a cagey affair for the rest of this first half extra time. Louis Goodchild launching the ball forward. Bande again, occupying his left-hand wing so well. He's really stretched Crystal Palace's defence with his positioning. And he has the quality to cause problems too. Now this is back outside the area in the shape of Connor Stratford. Free kick.
Strange one, not sure how that's for.
Bande and Stratford once more. This one is launched forward, and this is Cisse. Cisse finding much more space as we go through the 105-minute mark.
Very good defending.
Cisse remains on the floor. Reading for now, just with 9 outfield players at their service. This is Robinson, the scorer of the second goal. What a second goal it was too. Carr, the scorer
That's
of
very
Reading's second goal. Well,
he's been sent
will
off.
be a red card, straight red. More drama here at Selhurst Park. Red card to Crystal Palace's star player, really, all game, and the scorer of their first goal, Henry Ikeji, has been red carded for that challenge, and certainly was a tackle from behind, which left referee Sean Barkley in no two minds at all. That is late as well as from behind. And John, what are your thoughts on that?
That's very silly. Your team have just got back into it in extra time. It's absolutely no need to make that tackle whatsoever. He's let himself down really, and his teammates, but he's had a very good game, and I can't believe he's just gone and done that.
Well, this fixture this season has seen previous red cards. Reading's Brendan Dye, their captain, is missing this specific game because in the league game at the start of this month, he was given a red card. And now we've seen another. And for the rest of the 15 minutes that we have in extra time, Crystal Palace will be down a man, Dan Carr, who has felt the full force across the 90 and now 105 minutes that we've had. Crystal Palace have, not necessarily deliberately by any stretch of imagination, but have been in encounters with Dan Carr. Carr himself has got a yellow card. He's dished it back out as well.
I think coming back to Ikeji again, he's looked very isolated. He's moved into that central centre forward role. He hasn't had much options whatsoever, and he's looked like quite a frustrated figure for the last 20 odd so minutes. And I think that's certainly reflected in that tackle. Very silly tackle, shouldn't have done it, and it could cost his team very heavily.
Jake Robinson launching this ball forward to Lupata. It's Lupata whose pass to Jake Robinson set up that second goal. They need another one, of course. Lupata going almost outside the confines of Selhurst Park to retrieve that ball. Carr bringing it away, but we'll have a free kick here, I think.
Yeah, hands on the neck, can't do that.
Yeah, it's been a match which Sean Barkley, the referee, has had complete control of at all times. It really has been a good performance from the officials. And Crystal Palace looking for that third goal to equalise things. This is Kamara, stabs it forward, it falls to Steer's feet. And Kamara once more, almost trying to pull the trigger, and that'll be half-time, extra time. What a 15-minute mini-half we've had, John.
Wow. I don't know where to start, to be perfectly honest. The second goal, was it a cross, was it a shot? Either way, a fantastic goal for Reading to take the lead. Again, capitalising on Palace heads down. Got a brilliant counter-attack from Carr, squaring the ball to Dobar, was it? And great finish. But Robinson gets Palace back into it with an excellent goal. It's just a real shame that Ikeji's been sent off, because that could cost Crystal Palace in the second half of extra time.
And to pick a favourite from those three goals we saw, John, which one had the most quality about it, would you say?
Well, I can't really go for the first Reading goal, considering I don't think he knew much about it. But the second goal from Carr on his left foot, it doesn't matter if he's gone for goal, he's put it in a dangerous area, and when you do that, it's you've got a chance of scoring, and I think it was an excellent goal to give Reading the lead in extra time.
Jake Robinson with the ball in his hands. No long break at all at half-time. Turning around very quickly indeed. And wherever you are watching this final, we're delighted to have your company. We are set for a thrilling, we hope, 15 minutes. Certainly if the first half extra time was anything to go by. We'd love to know your thoughts on it too. Hashtag NFYL final. has been a match of, can you call it 2 matches almost? The 90 minutes, and then this extra time, which has been set alight. Both sets of players, an absolute credit to their clubs. Playing with desire throughout this and keeping their quality as well. This is Cisse. Cisse straight in on goal, and Cisse scores. Opportunistic goal. Lamine Cisse, and perhaps that one might be enough now for Reading.
Yeah, he's capitalised on a defensive error from Crystal Palace there. Composed, great finish into the bottom corner. I think we've played less than 60 seconds of the second half, and I think the game could already be up.
Just as Seth Dakin had attacking thoughts in his mind, Pilling. Dakin fed the ball back to Cisse, accidentally of course. That was a cool finish with his left foot.
Great celebration as well. Big fan of that.
Yes, of all the goal scorers, that's the most composed celebration we've seen. Everyone else has opted for the mob run into the corner. Lamine Cisse showing off the dance moves.
You'd have to say it's a massive ask for Crystal Palace now, being down to 10 men as well. It's going to take one almighty effort. You'd have to say perhaps it might be a little bit too much from now.
Ball has worked its way through. This is a nice strike on goal. Wasn't far away at all. And that was from Jack Mankalo. Really good strike. Came to him and didn't hesitate at all, did he? Put it on his left.
It's not far away.
The goal has been like a magnet to the ball since the 90 minutes was up. That time just going slightly beyond it.
It's crazy to think it was 1-0 not so long ago.
Yeah, and the goal scorer, of course, of that goal, no longer on the pitch. Henry Keji, superb performance throughout the 90 minutes, and just with a rash challenge, seeing a straight red. This is Dankar still desperately tracing, desperately hunting the ball, and what a brilliant burst of speed and effort he put in there to ensure that that ball didn't go out for a throw-in, and has in fact gone for a goal kick further up the field. But that just typifies Dankar's performance across these 90 minutes. Former Oxford United player.
His work rate's been second to none, Dankar.
Here's Robinson again, who scored that brilliant second goal. Robinson just having some afters there with Osman Darbo, and quite rightly Darbo asking what that was about. The referee waves play on, the ball has come into the area, and Luca Gasta, calm, slows things down. If you're Reading, that's probably what you fancy right now. And Cramp seizing up, and as we have seen throughout the course of football history, really, Cramps coming in extra time. It's obviously a manifestation of the effort that's gone in throughout this match, and I think that is Dankar on the floor, none more so than him. He has run himself into the ground. So many players, really.
You'd have to say both sides have played with such high intensity as well. Both teams' have work rate has been exceptional today. They've both been a credit. Yeah, it's absolutely no surprise to see everyone cramping up now.
Ken Lupata up front for Crystal Palace, still full of running. Came on with just 5 minutes to spare of the 90. Helped create a goal for his side. This is Joe Bonus Ward. And Palace here looking to take possession back in an advanced position. Joe Bonus Ward. unable to win that ball back. This is now Joe Pilling. And Downs. Stratford. And now Ruben Bande. Once again, setting off. Now cutting back into the box and laying it back for Darboe. Connor Stratford to Bande once more.
It's offside.
Yeah, the offside called.
Been really lively since coming on Bande. He's been really direct with the ball, taking on the fullbacks. Really good cameo from him.
Crystal Palace chancing their arm, but coming away with the ball. Gillett and now Mankalo. Gillett hammers one in, and it's not dealt with. Carr has to tidy up and does well along with Darboe, and those two really have been fantastic throughout the course of this one. Osman Darboe.
Spin then! Come back.
Picking the ball up again. He's always asked for the ball. He's always looked for work even at difficult times during this one for Reading. Pilling, who, again, a second half substitute who really helped change things around. This is Cisse, whose goal we saw started this half in extra time.
Great save.
And it comes back. It's not over, it is well over. Well, Reading unable to get their fifth, and that really should have been probably put away, John.
Yeah, absolutely. That space that Cisse's exploited there, that didn't exist in the first half, or majority of the second half as well in normal time. He's capitalised on it. Great ball back. That's a great save. You have to give credit to the goalkeeper.
And Bande, who you have to say could deserve a goal, the way he's performed since coming on. Unable to finish. Mankalo to Lupata. Joe Bolus-Ward. Back to Keane Gillett. And now Robinson. And Bande lets that one go past. This is Pugh. Taking on Goodchild, getting the ball not quite where he wanted it, but only as far as Luca Gasta. Eight minutes or so left in this second half extra time. The National Football Youth League final. It's been a thriller. 1-1 after 90 minutes. 4-2 in extra time. Reading showing they have not just a little bit of extra energy, but also that touch of class as things have worn on in this game. Crystal Palace have been full of energy themselves and thought they had things wrapped up with 85 minutes played. Equalising goal from Joe Pilling. And then all action broke loose in extra time. 3 goals by Reading, 1 from Crystal Palace. Palace needing 2 now to take things into what would be a quite improbable and incredible penalty shootout.
Yeah, it's going to need a massive effort now.
The likes of Osman Darboe, I'm sure they feel they've played enough football for one cup final. They'll be wanting to see this one out, but they don't let that affect their attacking instincts. Here's Carr.
Excellent play by Carr there.
Carr, he could well deserve a rest.
Yeah, I think he'll sleep well tonight.
Yes, maybe have set the alarm clock a couple of minutes later as well. And what's been most impressive for you, John, the way Reading have approached that final end of the match, and then now since extra time, as we should see a yellow card for Jake Robinson be given?
Well, they piled the pressure on towards the game in normal time. They got their equaliser, somewhat fortuitous, but they've capitalised on that momentum. Just wide there. They've capitalised on the momentum. They've been clinical in front of goal, and they're rightly leading, you know. it's hard luck on Palace because they defended so well for 85 minutes. Looks in control, but that's football sometimes.
Yeah, go on.
And Palace and Reading have been excellent.
This one launched forward by Combat. Now Kamara. But those passes where they were sticking for most of this match aren't sticking anymore. Steer. And Robinson and Combat. And John, at some point over the next 5 minutes, I might ask you for your man of the match.
Ooh, tough one.
Plenty of possibilities, aren't there?
Yeah, it's to and fro. It's Palace players could have easily picked up that reward. I have to say, you know, the likes of Kamara, I think, has been excellent for Crystal Palace. I don't think he's put a foot wrong for majority. He is starting to tire up now, but he's been excellent. It's a shame for Akite. He was certainly been in the running for it because he was the focal point of the Crystal Palace attack.
Yes, it was going to be 90 minutes for the awards. It probably would have been Henry Akite. Still playing, still sticking to that wide structure. This is Robinson, though, a dispossessed car. Robinson coming away into the penalty area. This is Lupati, who has to turn and tries to put it on his right foot. He does. It's not the cleanest strike, and Luca Gasta will take as long as he can with this one. Great run by Robinson.
Yeah, tireless running again from Robinson. He's been excellent as well. Another name we missed out. Squares it there for Lupata. That's unlucky. It's a tame finish, tired finish, if you like.
Darboe now pilling, and more endeavour from Reading, and this is from distance, and it is a long distance wide. Pulled the trigger, but not shooting cleanly. Lupata once more. Crystal Palace, they may not be able to get 2 goals, but they certainly feel they've got one more left in them. Lupata and Robinson occupying quite a high position.
Oh.
And a trailing leg from Lupata, and he will get a yellow card for that from referee Sean Barkley.
I think it's just a bit of frustration, that was.
It has been niggle here as things have worn on and as the tensions have increased. Well, John, we've discussed the candidates, and who would you pin your colours to for man of the match?
Well, I'm going to have to go for someone on the winning side, as much as yeah, I'm going to have to go for Darboe personally. I think he's had an excellent game, but then again, you have the likes of Dan Carr, who has had a fantastic game, really tireless effort. But again, coming back to the Crystal Palace, there could have been a number of players on that side that deserved the award and probably don't deserve to be on the losing side. So
here is Lupata, perhaps to get a third. It's going to be a penalty. The referee indicates to the spot. Lupata was through, got his shot away. The ball in from Robinson was a beauty.
Oh,
and we're going to have a red card. Now, sorry to cut you off, John. Actions have overtaken us here at Selhurst Park. Combat means Reading are down to 10 men. Crystal Palace, of course, already on 10 men. It's 10 aside in that regard. Combat in a flash, now watching from the stand. Let's have a look at what happened here. Darboe was chasing back, and Lupata, we didn't see it from our shot there, but the penalty's running up to be taken. It's Robinson. He has his second. And he runs back as quickly as he can. There are only minutes remaining in this final. The solemn figure of Cameron Combat goes for a not all that early bath, given how late we are in this game. Robinson from the spot, short, and a clean strike.
I can only imagine he's been sent off for being the last man there. I'm not quite sure what happened. I think it was a pull of the shirt. Here we go. Should see it here. Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure. It's a little bit harsh in my opinion. A little bit harsh.
Well, it does make things draw to an exciting end here. One more goal for Palace. Can they level things up? Reading, who have been so impressive in this extra time period, now the side hanging on. How things have twisted and turned in this National Football Youth League final. Crystal Palace now with Lupata, and he has a chance here. Still staying on his feet well. Reading get back in numbers. Lupata tries once more. It's out to Pugh.
Oh.
And the ball goes down.
Scramble.
And Reading get away.
Great
Cisse.
tackle.
Now Pugh. Now the crowd, you can hear, it may be a small crowd, but they're making their presence felt. Everyone on their feet on the far side.
Some finished this, by the way.
Some absurd finish this here at Selhurst Park. Alex Pugh.
Will that goalkeeper come up, I wonder? He's got to go, isn't he? He's
Jack
got to
Wellington,
go.
he's not moving beyond the centre circle at the moment. Joe Bonus-Ward is at the back of the area for Crystal Palace. This may be their last chance. This is the chance to take it into penalties. It comes in, Lupata's there.
Corner.
And Crystal Palace appeal for it is another corner. Sean Barkley decisive with his decision. God, what a final, John, we've had here. What an extra time we've had here.
Need to catch my breath.
Ball comes in again and it's clattered into Gasta. Now, will that be it? Reading raise their arms to the skies. They have won it. They have done it the hard way. They have held on. 4-3, a stunning extra time period. Dan Carr and Lamin Cisse and that man Darboe rejoicing. They have been the heroes for Reading. It's been a huge squad effort though as well. 1-1 after 90 minutes, 4-3 after 120. Well, John, what a cup final we've seen, and just to give the scorers their due, that goal from Joe Pilling to take things into beyond the 90 minutes, and then Dan Carr, and then Lamin Cisse, and Osman Darboe too. 4 goals, and that just being enough to see off Crystal Palace. They came back into it through 2 Jake Robinson goals, one of them an excellent left-footed strike and one of them from the spot. What a cup final.
What a great cup final that was. I need to catch my breath now, I reckon. As I said earlier, I don't think there's a few players that don't deserve to be on the losing side there. What a great final. Both players deserve a hell of a lot of credit for how they worked. Tireless effort. They can all be incredibly proud, but congratulations to Reading on the victory.
Indeed, you saw the face there of Seth Dakin in the defence for Crystal Palace. Hard to take a loss such as this, particularly given that with 85 minutes they had one hand metaphorically on the trophy. But Reading, too good in the end, and it is the league leaders, or even the league champions, who have championed in the cup final. Crystal Palace pushing them all the way. But it is Reading who at full time take the victory, 4-3. A stunning set-piece final and a testament to National Football Youth League football in general. It's the cup final which any neutral would have wanted, and which does justice to the quality that these players have and the effort that they put in over the course of the season. Not just the 2 sides we've seen here, John, but across all 5 leagues. These 2, the best of them in 2018.
Absolutely, I think we've just witnessed just that statement. Both teams excellent in what they do, so committed and professional in how they set up. Some great football at times as well. You have to. Some of the football's fantastic to watch. Some great goals. We've just about seen it all today, haven't we?
We have, yeah. Red cards, 2 overall, 1 on each side. Yellow cards aplenty. And of course, 7 goals to boot. And only 2 of them being scored in the 90 minutes. 5 goals in extra time. Not often you get to see that many over the course of 2 15-minute halves, and we can see the trophy being now laid out. And we'll be Reading with their names on it and their hands with it above their heads. And I think we did just about award our man of the match to Usman Darboe, but understandably we kept getting interrupted by the action. Jake Robinson making things very nervy as we approach the referee's final whistle. And for Crystal Palace, then, John, upset to begin with, but do you think that can get any better, given that it was a quality final and an enjoyable one to play, to go 120 minutes, or will that not really matter?
Oh, you know what, they will be so proud of how they went about their business today. You know, they've played at a fantastic stadium. They've taken part in a really, really good cup final that they will all remember, no doubt about it. As I said earlier, they'll all probably sleep very well tonight. They've worked very, very hard. But yeah, they should all be extremely proud of their efforts, how much they put in today.
Michael Butcher and Paddy Carey, the coaches for Reading, just wrapping up and delivering their final words, no doubt. They are pleased as Joe Pilling gets a hug, the man who got the equaliser on 85 minutes. Really has been. Reading season then, they top the pile in the Southern Premier Division, and they are atop the podium for the Cup. And it's a decent sized trophy as well. You'd be pleased to be picking that one up.
Yeah, after playing 120 minutes though, I think you'd be a bit knackered. I hope they don't drop it.
Yeah. Might have to give it to those who have less miles in the legs. Although, that said, both the captain of the season and the vice-captain weren't on the pitch at the end. I'm sure Owen Cummins has recovered enough to lift the trophy, the vice-captain who had the armband at the start of this final. But in general, what a day out for both sets of players and their families and their friends to come down to Selhurst Park. And many of these Crystal Palace players, let's remember, playing their first game on this pitch. This isn't something that they do regularly. They've played training matches on it before, but their first competitive outing on Selhurst Park. And it'll be surely one they'll remember for a long time, one they'll remember with a tinge of what might have been. Luca Gasta, well, never going to be the man of the match in a match such as this, but he was as safe as houses, really, in the Reading goal.
Made some excellent saves in the first half, didn't he? So, you know, for that, you'd look back on that. That kept him in the game, didn't it? Really.
Yeah. That save from Daniel Ndukwe, one of the highlights early on, and of course from Henry Ikeji in the second half too. Well, it's Crystal Palace's coach Bobby Bowery who is addressing the crowd and the players. Played 50 times for Crystal Palace during his incredible 386 game professional career. Really is a driving force behind this Crystal Palace team, and it's Jack Wallington, Crystal Palace's captain. So medals for the officials, who have had to go through the ringer just as much as the players. The last man to pick that up, Sean Barkley, the referee, but his assistants Oliver Hyde and Paul Maskell, as well as the fourth official, George Baines. So the man of the match, Osman Darboe from Reading in the 7 shirt, just seemed to, well, he started as one of their strongest players, but he just grew and grew into the game, and by the end, everything was going through. Osman Darboe, of course, picked up the 3rd goal as well for his side. And now the man of the match award as well. So Crystal Palace up to collect their runners-up medals, led by Jack Wallington, their captain. Keane Gillett, the scorer of the goal which got them into this final in the semis. That semi-final against Plymouth Argyle, just a 1-0 victory. Ken Lupata, who earned that penalty for Crystal Palace's 3rd goal, also playing in the past for Jake Robinson to score his 2nd, and there is Robinson, 2 goals for him in this final. Alex Pugh following him, who really was a shining light for Crystal Palace through so much of the game. Eamon Kudban picking up his medal as well, and tough one for Crystal Palace's players to take, really. Jack Mankolo, the last to come up to the table. More smiles on the faces of Reading's players. They had to do it the hard way, 1-0 down for the bulk of the 90 minutes. They came back into the match through that man there, Joe Pilling, second half substitute. He got a goal which we didn't know too much about at the time, we felt. It ricocheted off a Crystal Palace player onto his head and into the goal. It cued extra time, and then what drama. 3 goals in all scored by Reading in extra time, 2 in the first 15 minutes and 1 just in the 2nd period. That man there with the shirt turned around the back, Lamin Cisse, scorer of the 4th. That one in the end proving crucial as Crystal Palace scored 1 back by Jake Robinson. And John, I guess after a final of over 120 minutes, whichever side has come out in the end is the deserving side, but Reading just enough quality across 120 minutes to be champions.
Yeah, just about, you'd have to say. Again, their equaliser was a stroke of luck. Didn't know much about it, but again, the game has completely changed in their favour, and they dominated. Tired legs took apart Crystal Palace, and yeah, I'd have to say Reading were the deserved winners in the end, you'd have to say. Well, looks like Dyer's going to pick up the cup.
So Brendan Dyer banned from this final due to a red card picked up at the start of the month, but he is there to lift the trophy for Reading, their captain all season long, and unable to join his team on the pitch during the 120 minutes he's there at the centre of the party that is starting now for these Reading players. The league champions of the Southern Premier and now the Cup champions. Lamin Cisse with his hands on the trophy now as well. They received the applause and they have been a real wonder to watch, particularly in that extra time part. Yeah, that topsy-turvy nature of football underlined really by that opportunistic, well, fortunate goal at the end of 90 minutes to get Reading back into it. But after that, they rode their luck and were certainly the better side in extra time. Well, thank you very much for joining us here at Selhurst Park on our coverage of the National Football Youth League final. What a statement of intent about the quality of this league the final has been. 7 goals in all, Reading winning it 4-3, Crystal Palace the runners-up on this occasion, but it has been a wonderful occasion for those players as well, playing at their home, Selhurst Park. It's been fantastic to have your company. And Jonathan, Hope, it's been fantastic to have you up as well here in the gantry, offering your analysis and also lifting the lid on what it's like being one of these players in the National Football Youth League.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, that's our coverage done and dusted here at Selhurst Park. Thank you very much for joining us and have a very good afternoon.